They didn't wake up one morning and decide to disrespect you. They've been following the rules you wrote, without even knowing you wrote them. Every late-night text you answered, every insult you let slide, every meeting where you stayed quiet even though you had the answer, you were training them to see you as optional. This is Machiavelli philosophy, where we dismantle the comforting lies about kindness, respect, and power, and replace them with the cold strategies that actually work in the real world. Here's the truth. If you don't rewrite your code now, every room you walk into will treat you like background noise, and every conversation will slowly erase your influence. And the longer you wait, the harder it will be to undo the version of you they think they know. By the end of this video, you'll know how to stop teaching people to undervalue you, how to command authority without raising your voice, and how to make silence your most dangerous weapon. If you've ever walked away from an insult replaying what you should have said, this may be the only chance you get to stop making that mistake before it costs you the opportunities you haven't even seen yet. If you've been making these mistakes, it's because the code you're running on is outdated, and outdated code doesn't just slow you down, it crashes under pressure. Every room you walk into is reading that code and treating you exactly the way it tells them to. This is why weak responses aren't accidents. They're the product of social programming. Somewhere along the line, you learned that keeping the peace mattered more than protecting your position. You learned to avoid conflict, to chase approval, to shrink so others could feel big. That's not your nature, it's your operating system. Picture two versions of you. The old one answers every late-night text, laughs off every passive-aggressive comment, and accepts extra work at 5 p.m. without a word. The new one pauses before replying, says no without dressing it up in excuses, and holds their silence until their words will shift the room. Which version do you think commands the higher price in any negotiation? At work, in business, or in life? Here's your first exercise. Write down 3 behaviors you will stop immediately. Maybe it's apologizing for things that aren't your fault, over-explaining every choice, or letting people interrupt you. Then write down 3 behaviors you will start, like setting time boundaries, holding eye contact without filling the silence, or making others earn your yes. Don't make the rookie mistake of flipping the switch overnight. Go from passive to aggressive in one leap, and the system will push back hard. People will test you, mock you, or try to drag you back into the role you played for years. Machiavelli understood that power is built brick by brick, not in a single swing of the hammer. Change your code now, or the world will keep running the old program forever. But before you can change how you act, you must decide who you're going to be. Sometimes, you can't rewrite your operating system while it's still running. You have to shut it down, burn the old script, and start from scratch. That's exactly what Steve Jobs did when he was forced out of Apple, a company he built from the ground up. He didn't waste his time giving interviews to explain himself or chasing public sympathy. He went silent, and in that silence he built Next, invested in Pixar, and developed a vision that would one day bring him back to Apple stronger than before. The lesson is simple. Don't rebuild to return to who you were. Rebuild to become someone they've never met before. This is not about healing so you can fit back into the role you lost. It's about transforming so completely that the old role could never contain you. Here's a strategy to start: the 30-day silent rebuild. For the next month, cut unnecessary noise. Limit your social media. Stop explaining yourself to people who don't have the power to change your life. Redirect that energy into upgrading your skills, your health, and your mindset. Every day you stay quiet, you store power. Every day you focus inward, you add another layer of armor. Most people try to prove they've changed by talking about it. Machiavelli would tell you, talk is the enemy of transformation. Let them notice the difference without warning. And once you've rebuilt, your greatest weapon is control, especially of yourself. In any battle, whether it's in a boardroom, at a family table, or in the middle of a heated negotiation, the first weapon isn't what you say, it's your ability to control yourself. Machiavelli understood that emotions are tools, not truths. You can use them to influence, to signal, to intimidate, but if you let them control you, you've already lost. Picture this. Your opponent drops a subtle insult in front of others, knowing it will sting. The moment you bite back without thinking, you've given them exactly what they wanted. Proof that they can pull your strings. In that instant, you've moved from strategist to pawn. Here's a simple exercise, the 3-second rule. When provoked, pause for 3 full seconds before responding. In those seconds, you breathe, you level your voice, and you choose words that serve your goal, not your impulse. Those 3 seconds can be the difference between looking unshakable and looking unstable. The trap to avoid is pretending you're calm while your face, your tone, and your body betray you. People read micro-expressions faster than they process words. If your jaw tightens or your voice sharpens, they'll know you're rattled. True self-preserving isn't suppression, it's mastery. But control is not about killing your fire, it's about directing it. Most people are taught to bury their ambition and suppress their anger, as if those forces are dangerous in themselves. Machiavelli would disagree. He knew that the qualities others fear in you, your hunger, your intensity, your refusal to be small, are not flaws. They are fuel. The danger is not in having them. The danger is in letting them run wild without direction. History offers a sharp example. Julius Caesar faced relentless opposition from political rivals who despised him. He didn't waste his energy on petty retaliation. He used their hatred as a map. Every insult, every obstacle showed him exactly where his power needed to expand. What they intended as resistance became the very pressure that forged his dominance. You can do the same. The next time you're met with doubt, disrespect, or outright hostility, replace the thought, "Why me?" with "Watch me." Let their dismissal become the reason you sharpen your skills, strengthen your alliances, and position yourself where they can no longer ignore you. This isn't about revenge, it's about conversion. Converting raw, messy emotion into precise, unstoppable movement toward your objectives. And to truly use this, you must see more than others can. Power often belongs to the person who speaks least but notices most. Observation is not passive, it's an active hunt for information. Machiavelli understood that knowing more than others think you know gives you an invisible advantage. Every glance, every shift in tone, every hesitation is data. And in the right hands, data is power. Imagine you're in a meeting. A colleague makes a comment that sounds supportive, but their eyes flicker toward another person for just a second and their shoulders tighten. Words say one thing, but the body says another. That's not loyalty. It's a setup. If you were too busy preparing your own response to notice, you'd miss the trap entirely. Here's your exercise. In every meeting or group conversation this week, spend 5 minutes as a silent scanner. Don't speak. Don't plan what you'll say next, just watch. Notice who interrupts, who avoids eye contact, who mirrors the boss's posture. Patterns will start to emerge, and those patterns tell you who's aligned with you. The common mistake is taking people at their words while ignoring their behavior. Words are the costume, actions are the truth. Observation is only half the game. The other half is how you present yourself. Machiavelli wrote that a ruler must be both the fox and the lion. The fox to see traps, the lion to scare off wolves. In modern terms, that means mastering the mask, controlling what people see so they never have the full map of who you are. In business, you'll sometimes meet the CEO who greets everyone with a warm handshake, remembers the names of their children, and cracks jokes in the hallway. But when the boardroom doors close, their tone sharpens, their terms become non-negotiable, and they hold their position like stone. That isn't hypocrisy, it's controlled authenticity. They reveal the parts of themselves that serve their position, and they keep the rest out of reach. You can do the same. The goal isn't to be fake, it's to be selective. Show empathy when it wins trust. Show resolve when it earns respect. Share just enough about yourself to build rapport, but keep your deeper motives and vulnerabilities behind the mask. The less people can read you, the more they'll hesitate before moving against you. Controlled authenticity keeps you adaptable. It lets you change tone, shift pace, or alter strategy without betraying your core. And one of the strongest messages you can send is where you draw the line. No one values what is always available. If your time, energy, and attention can be accessed without cost, they will be taken without respect. Machiavelli understood that scarcity breeds value, whether in gold, territory, or presence. Think about a famous musician who rarely appears in public. Each sighting becomes an event. Every word they speak is amplified, and their absence makes their audience hunger for more. Their value isn't just in their talent, it's in their controlled access. You can apply the same principle in your life. One of the simplest and most powerful ways to enforce boundaries is to say no without attaching an apology or explanation. No is a complete sentence. When you stop cushioning it with excuses, you communicate that your limits are firm, not negotiable. The trap to avoid is setting a boundary, then breaking it the moment someone pushes hard enough. The first time you do that, you've taught them that your limits are theater. Boundaries only work if they hold under pressure, especially when it's uncomfortable. With boundaries in place, you can now choose allies strategically. Friendship is built on trust and affection. Alliances are built on value and mutual interest. Machiavelli understood that while friends may comfort you, it is alliances that protect and advance you. An alliance is not about liking each other. It is about combining power to achieve a goal neither side could reach alone. Look at Cesare Borgia. To expand his territory, he didn't just gather loyal companions. He aligned himself with powerful families whose influence opened doors his armies alone could not. These alliances were deliberate, transactional, and when their purpose was served, replaceable. That's why they worked, because they were clear in their purpose. In the modern world, this is selective networking. It's the difference between knowing everyone at a conference and knowing the 3 people who can actually move your career, your business, or your influence forward. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to be exactly where value is exchanged. The mistake most people make is confusing warmth for strength, believing that being liked will lead to opportunity. Machiavelli would tell you, opportunity comes to those positioned where power flows, not where it feels comfortable. And the fewer words you use, the more each one will matter. Silence is not emptiness, it's pressure. Used well, it makes others fill the space with words they didn't plan to say. Machiavelli would call it a weapon of control, because in those extra seconds, the balance of power shifts toward the one who can wait. In negotiations, silence can be worth more than the best argument. Picture this: you make your offer, then stop talking. 5 seconds pass. The other side grows uncomfortable, starts justifying their position, and often lowers the price without you ever asking again. Those 5 seconds are not wasted. They're profitable. But silence is not the same as absence. If you stretch it too long without presence, without eye contact, without a steady posture, it can read as hesitation or weakness. The power of silence lies in being deliberate, not passive. The rule is simple. Use silence to make others reveal themselves, not to hide yourself. Silence also makes patience possible, and patience is the root of discipline. Power rarely comes to those who grab at the first opportunity. More often it belongs to those who can endure the wait, watching the board until every piece is in their favor. Machiavelli knew that timing could be more decisive than strength, because a move made too early is often worse than not moving at all. Consider Warren Buffett. His greatest investments weren't the result of quick wins, but of patience measured in decades. He studied companies, waited for market downturns, and only acted when the odds were overwhelmingly in his favor. That patience turned good decisions into legendary ones. You can train yourself to do the same. Instead of chasing results in days or weeks, set targets 6 to 12 months out. Measure progress in quiet preparation, building your network, refining your skills, strengthening your position, while others burn themselves out on quick wins that vanish as fast as they arrive. The trap to avoid is mistaking inaction for patience. Patience is active. It's the slow tightening of a bowstring, not the slack of an unused weapon. And if you can do all this, you'll see that the game never really ends. Power is not a finish line. It's not a trophy you win once and keep forever. It's a state you maintain through constant vigilance, adjustment, and growth. The moment you stop learning, stop observing, or stop reviving your position, the game doesn't pause. It simply moves on without you. The most skilled players understand this. They don't treat a single victory as the end. They treat it as a checkpoint, a place to gather resources, upgrade their tools, and prepare for the next round. Whether it's in politics, business, or personal influence, the strongest understand that there is no permanent safety, only the strength to adapt faster than the opposition. Your challenge is simple. This week, take one principle from this video and apply it. Maybe it's the 3-second pause before you respond. Maybe it's saying no without apology. Or maybe it's choosing one strategic alliance that will shift your position. Then, watch what changes and share it. The act of applying is where the power begins. Power doesn't lie in what you say. It lies in the limits you set without saying them.